Pick a side, pick your poison. Pick a side, pick your poison.
Whoa, giant to a Maggie, big boss status. Ain't gon' lie, I really wish they would. I ain't do no front and get my money on the back end. Yesterday's price ain't today, now we taxing. Way out the field, ain't no way out for me. They always told me I'm the wave.
This is episode 7 of the Houch of Orange Sports Channel. This is Frank Rock coming at you once again. That's the name. Baseball is the game. I'm excited about this one. I'm a baseball guy. Had a lot of cool opportunities over the last few years. I've grown up on baseball in my life, played it most of my life. Not sitting here telling you I was some great player. I was okay at it. Probably could have been better, but it is what it is. But I've had a lot of good opportunities in coaching. Been very blessed with that. Some cool things, really cool things have happened. But I've been excited to get into this baseball thing. Love it. Love Tennessee baseball. Love what they're doing. And goes back a few years, of course, when Tony Vitello put this program back on the map. Went to the NCAA tournament. They were put out at North Carolina in that regional. But then the next year, first series, Georgia Southern, I was still doing Talking Vols at the time. We talked about incorporating some baseball. We didn't know what the reach would be on it at the time. Baseball was still catching back on with Tennessee. And then you had the season opening series at Georgia Southern. Drew Gilbert hits the go-ahead home run, the bat flip. Lot of emotions in that game. That set a tone for Tennessee baseball that is still there. That was a dude. Drew Gilbert was a dude. So now it leads me into today it was released that Perfect Game released their preseason All-American teams. Tennessee put 3 on those teams as they put Drew Beam and Billy Amick, the transfer from Clemson, on the second team, Christian Moore on the third team. So what are we going to see out of these guys this year? And there's one we'll get to in a minute. It's a little bit tough to swallow. But a lot of you, if you listen to this, you've probably already seen that. But I'll touch upon that in a moment. But Drew Beam last year, 3.63 ERA, 9-4 record, 84.1 innings pitched, 88 hits, 88 strikeouts, 23 walks. I like the walks. The strikeouts, just a little bit over 1 per inning. Same with the hits. I'd like to see that come down. I'd like to see that ERA come down as well. I thought Drew Beam at the end of the year, as far as their starting pitchers, was easily Tennessee's best starting pitcher in the NCAA tournament. I thought he pitched well in the Clemson Regional. He pitched well against Southern Miss in the F game. He pitched good in Omaha against LSU. He was just outpitched by LSU's bullpen, and Tennessee's bats just didn't do their thing in that game. I expect big things out of him this year. He'll be a junior. I expect this will be his last year, as he's projected as somewhere in that 15 to 20, give or take, range of the Major League draft. Does he improve on that? I want to see his numbers improve this year, as we saw Chase Dolander last year. I didn't feel he had a good year. I really didn't. Andrew Lindsey took over that number 1 role. I thought Lindsey at the end of the year was not pitching his best ball. Andrew Lindsey and Chase Dolander both put some strain on that Tennessee bullpen in the tournament. They just didn't make it far, where Drew Beam was taking some off of it and turned it over to Chase Burns, which I'll touch upon here in a minute, as that goes back to a previous point. But Drew Beam, he's called QB1. He played QB in high school. He's going to be your Friday night guy. I don't think there's any doubt about it. I think it's still in question who's your Saturday and Sunday guys. And I'll talk about that moving forward as I preview the team. But Drew Beam, second team All-American. Billy Amick, I'm excited about getting this guy from Clemson. He's a heck of a player. Last year, so he's a second team All-American. He's projected to play third base for Tennessee. And I was looking at, based on his numbers, well, why is he second team? Well, you've got Tommy White from LSU and his numbers. Pretty impressive last year. So Billy Amick last year at Clemson, 416 average, 464 on base, 772 slugging, 37 runs, 69 hits, 13 home runs, 63 RBIs, 2 stolen bases. He transferred from Clemson, not because he wasn't in the lineup. He wasn't playing in the field much. And there must have been some doubt where he would play this year as well. So he's coming to Tennessee. The anticipation is he'll play third base. I'm gonna touch upon when I get into it what my lineup would be. There's no doubt about it. I got a guy like Billy Amick hitting 416, putting up those numbers. You're going to have a real hard time if it was me not having him lead off. I don't know that he hits there in the Vols World Series, Orange and White World Series, whatever they call it. He was hitting middle of the order, but I know they did a lot of experimenting. They played a lot of innings then. And then your third team guy, Christian Moore. Guy comes up big numerous times. Last year, he was at 304, 444 on base, 603 slugging, 17 home runs, 50 RBIs. I expect a big year out of him and what should be his last year as well. All three of those guys, juniors, I expect they'll all three be moving on after this year. And can Tennessee add any more guys to the All-American team? I've got high hopes for Blake Burke. I know he caught a lot of criticism last year. I would argue Blake Burke had the most important at-bat of the year in that Clemson game with 2 outs in the ninth, and he got that base hit, which prolonged that inning, which led to Zane Denton's heroics. Blake Burke wasn't perfect last year. Blake Burke had some absolute blasts. He had some tough times as well. But, man, that was such an underrated at-bat. Maybe the biggest at-bat of the year for that Tennessee team. And there'll be some other guys as well. Of course, Zane Denton is back. Cannon Peebles comes over from North Carolina State. And you wonder, well, this seems to be an upgrade on paper. Well, why did he come from North Carolina State if he was so good? Well, if you look at your first-team All-Americans this year, at catcher, Jacob Cozart, North Carolina State. Excuse me. That would be why. So I think Peebles was more DH last year. And so that's why. He wants to catch. He's going to catch at Tennessee. I don't think he'll have much trouble getting on the field there based on the production Tennessee got from that catching position last year. So a lot to look forward to with this team. Curious to see where they're going to be preseason ranked. You got to think this is a top 10 team. Got to think it's top 10. Are they top 5? I'm not sure. I haven't looked hard enough and seen the projections as of this point. But be bringing some previews later on. It's not far. It is not far off till baseball season. Can't wait. Can't wait to see what this team does. I have a lot of questions about what this team can do. What's their ceiling? How far can they make it? Can they win in Omaha? I have questions on that. I'm going to touch upon that later on in some videos I'm going to create. Just dropped not too long ago 2023 season review for football. If you haven't already, guys, and you're listening to this, please go and check it out. Check it out. It's about 14 minutes. Touch upon what I liked, what I didn't like, and could the record have been different? Could it have been better? Could it have been worse? What are some aspects of that? And a little bit of a preview going forward. I got a lot of stuff on the table that I'm wanting to come up with. Covering basketball, and we'll come at you with an Ole Miss preview tomorrow. And then we'll kind of toggle some topics here that I want to go with football, some stuff I want to go with in baseball leading up. But this thing's just getting started with the House of Orange. I appreciate you guys who've given it a chance so far and checked it out. If you'll continue to share it out, continue to send it to your buddies, to your friends, people that may like sports, may like Tennessee. It's greatly appreciated. Like I said, this thing, it's a little rusty right now. I'm a little rusty behind the mic, but getting a little better with each episode, get back in the groove a little bit. But I'm enjoying this a lot. This is a lot of fun. It's going to be a lot of fun covering baseball, covering basketball. When we get into football in the fall, it's going to be a lot. It's going to be a fun football season. I really do. And I'm excited to come with what I'm seeing for next year for 2024 in Tennessee football. Probably going to raise some eyebrows with my projections, and maybe it's unrealistic, maybe it's not. But thank you guys again for tuning in. If you like this, subscribe, share it out for me. This is Frank Rock. This is the House of Orange. You guys take care. Have a good evening, and go Vols.